Hello and welcome to the Virtual Jewish Thought of the Week. This is Rabbi Dan Lewin speaking to you from downtown Dallas. What we're going to do today is to continue the theme that we spoke about last time, which is the idea of this month, a month of destruction and rebuilding, the message of failure and success, of sadness and of joy. Now the Talmud relates in regard to the holiday of Tisha B'Av, which is happening this week. The Talmud relates an interesting story of Rabbi Akiva with some of his colleagues, and this is what it says. After the destruction of the temple, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva are walking towards Jerusalem. And they come to a place in Mount Scopus where you can look and see the view of the ruins of where the temple used to stand. And the sages look, the three other sages look, and they see that an animal is running around in the Holy of Holies. Look what used to be, look at what's now. They feel the destruction, and they tear their clothes in mourning. Rabbi Akiva, who you would expect to have the same reaction, he laughs. So they say to him, well, what are you doing? Why are you laughing? So he says, why are you crying? So I said, what do you mean, why are we crying? This is the place that the Kohen, the high priest, used to go, the holiest place, and now a fox is running through there, an animal. It's destroyed, it's ruined. Should we not cry? So he says, that's why I'm laughing. And then he provides some proof. What is that proof? Some information, background behind it. He says, in short, we're not going to go through all the details, but he says there are two prophecies that are linked. One prophecy is by Uriah, a prophet at the time of the first temple. The other prophecy is by Zechariah, at the time of the second temple. Uriah speaks about the destruction. Zechariah speaks about the rebuilding, the future rebuilding. So Rabbi Akiva explains that the Torah links these two prophecies. The prophecy of destruction is linked to the prophecy of rebuilding. And he said, I didn't know, I wasn't sure until now, that the prophecy about the future rebuilding would take place because I hadn't seen the destruction. Now that I see the prophecy of destruction takes place, I'm confident that the second part will be fulfilled, that the rebuilding will take place. And that's the end of the story. Now there's a lot of analysis to go in, but we're just going to take one message about what this means when we look at events that seem negative or destructive events or failures in our life. There are two statements in the Talmud which speak about the idea of negative events, and they seem to be saying the same thing, but on a subtle level are a little bit different. One statement says, Kol da'avid Rahmana l'tov avid. That means whatever God does, he does for the best. So somebody sees something negative, they go through a bad time, they say, well, I'm sure it's for the best. The other statement is Gam zu l'toiva. This itself, too, is for the good. Now, what does that mean? They seem to be saying the same thing. Oh, it's for the best. I know there's got to be a deeper reason why I have to go through this challenge and I have to see this and so forth. The first statement, whatever God does, he does for the good, for the best, means that we may not be able to see the reason why it's happening, but we know that maybe in the future something good will occur. So let's take an extreme example. Let's say somebody, famous story that somebody is about to get on a plane and they're delayed, they get stuck in the bathroom or they miss the plane and they say, like, why'd I have to miss the plane? And then what happens? God forbid, the plane crashes. So that's saying, oh wow, so Hashem does it for the best. He saved me from having to go, and I thought it was a bad thing, but really it happened for a reason. It happened to save me from something. But when we go through something like this, we can't always see the link between why this particular event had to happen and the good that came out of it. In other words, I know I had to go through that in order to be saved, in order for something good to happen. I lost this job, and if I didn't lose this job, I wouldn't have gotten another one. But I still don't understand why I had to suffer. Couldn't it have happened in another way? Couldn't it be that from the beginning the plane was saved? There's still some things that don't make sense. When you make a statement, Gam zu l'toiva, even this is for the good, what that means is when you look back, what you see is that seemingly negative event that you had to go through was part of a rebuilding process. In other words, not that it just saved me from something, but already that suffering or that darkness was part of the character building that I needed, or part of the solution that was going to come in the future. They're not two separate things, they're one thing. And that's the idea of Rebbe Akiva laughing, that what was the perspective of the other sages? They looked and they saw the present destruction, so they cried. Rebbe Akiva said, okay, even though I see the present destruction, I know, I can see in the future that this is part of the rebuilding process. Had this not occurred, we would never be able to get to where we're going to get in the future. Now that takes a specific type of prophet, sage, in order to be able to see. Rebbe Akiva is a descendant of converts, and he changed his life at 40. That's a special, unique individual. But what that means for us is that there are some times in our life where we can see only darkness, and we have to be able to say one of two things. Either I know this is for the best, or even deeper, not only is this for the best, but this itself, one day I'll look back and I'll see that it was part of the necessary solution to get me where I need to go. Part of the success. Now I see darkness, now I see destruction, now I see challenge, but somehow going through this will make me stronger and better for the future. Not just save me from something, but it's a necessary ingredient for me to succeed. That's one of the messages of this month, that when we see negative events and darkness and challenge, what we have to know is that on a deeper level, not only is there a reason why I have to go through this, but it's part of the rebuilding process. And ultimately, when we look back, we'll also be able to see how. Thank you for watching, for your time. If you like this, please forward it to anyone you think would be interested. I would love to hear your comments or feedback or questions. And if you would like to dedicate or sponsor a video, please email me at the address below. And I look forward to speaking with you next week.